Hello, everyone. This is Shmuel Zeiler. I'm the CEO and CTO, which is even more important, of Raz-Lee Security. And I'm glad that you are attending this first webinar. It is the beginning of a series of webinars which will take place towards the end of this year. Every week we shall have at least one webinar or two webinars, which will cover all the different modules of the product. Not all, most of them, the important ones. On the other hand, today we are not going to speak about any specific product, but on the suite itself, which is a part of many products. So let's start. Just a few words about Raz-Lee. Founded in 35 years ago, it still keeps its mission to provide security software for the IBM I only. We have pressure to expand to other platforms, but we keep faith that to the IBM I, and we believe that in order to be the best in the platform, one should concentrate on that platform. Raz-Lee has corporate offices in various places worldwide and a wide network of distributors. Not all of them will be displayed on the next slide, where we shall show you the map of the world. But this is what we prefer to show. In the same manner, we will just mention that we are installed in more than 40 countries and have sold more than 12,000 licenses, because we cannot track all the licenses and ensure that they are all valid and so on today, especially with the consolidation of LPAS and so on. Raz-Lee is partnering with a lot of technical companies and marketing companies. Some of them are listed here on the screen. You can see that most of the SIEM companies and DAM companies, DAM is database activity monitoring and SIEM is security incident and event monitoring, are listed here on the screen. While some of them, like Imperva and McAfee, they are representing the majority of the DAM area. They are, I would say that they have special connection with us, and we are the only one which provide a solution for their DAM software. Actually, Imperva, when they had to choose an agent for the IBM I, they have done their own research and decided finally to take and pick our software as the agent. And now they OEM this software. Raz-Lee provides some unique products which are mentioned here, but I will mention them later. So let's continue and go on. This is some of our network distribution. As you can see, you can find us almost everywhere, and not all of them are displayed here. So, actually, you cannot have such a presentation without bringing some of your customers. So I assume that when you look at these great names, you feel that you know some of them, and we do appreciate the fact that they have chosen us over other solutions. Actually, many of them actually left an existing solution and transferred to our solution after they have seen what we can provide and knowing what others do. Let's go and speak about some of the characteristics of iSecurity. iSecurity is the most comprehensive software for security on the IBM I. Actually, we cover more aspects of security rather than any other companies, and I include also companies which have both so many other smaller companies. The difference is that all the software that we are observing in this presentation was created by us, by Raz-Lee, so they share the same look and feel and have the same terminology throughout the entire suite. This means that your learning curve when you take the next module is simply the minimum one can think of, because most of it you already know. The product shares a powerful report generator with a scheduler, and which comes with hundreds of built-in customizable reports. The product has ways of working, and usually we try to find the exceptions and deal with them. We don't try to find the real normalized thing. And as such, life becomes easy. Now, the products, as we see it, are not just static. They are living products. We bring out a real release every year or every half a year to every product in the suite. And actually, these products, these releases are very powerful and very important. Not only that we bring releases, meaningful ones, but we also develop new products, and the new product for year 2019 is already ready. We shall probably call it change control, and it will be controlling updates by work orders and tickets, and ensuring that if somebody is doing something to a production library, he either comes from an allowed program or he has a valid ticket to do this. We shall speak about that product when it is announced. I didn't mention, but some of our products are market unique. For example, we also hear the word cyber, and cyber is very important these days. But when we speak about controlling cyber attacks, the very first or second thing which comes to our mind is, of course, the ransomware. And the only ransomware on the market is our product, Anti-Ransomware. And one of the two antiviruses which exist on the market is our antivirus. There are several other products which are unique, such as the capture, which takes picture after picture of all 5250 activities, allowing you later to do page up and page down to scroll and in the playback of the activity of a user. There are several other products, but let's not delay and continue further. So this is the list of products. This is the diagram. Usually I prefer to stay here and tell you all about the products, but today this is speaking about the suite. So every product, I will try to speak just briefly about it in the later slides. The important thing which we have to understand when we look at this slide, which describes the products in the suite, is that we have almost all possible solutions. And each of the solutions is classified as a full product, most comprehensive. We don't write names, we write products. And all of them speak with the same language and actually can go and visit general evaluations, such as a tool for business intelligence, which we name it Visualizer, or the Compliance Evaluator, which will give us a scorecard with a percentage of compliance to any regulation that we would wish to comply with, and with the SIEM and DAM support, where we have unique capabilities such as working with 3 SIEMs in parallel and 2 DAMs in parallel to that, and with the capability of having everything in a multi-system environment in which, when we write a specific query which is suitable for this machine, when we run it, we can ask that it will include information not only from this machine, but from any group of any size or all the other machines, and this is being so transparent. So let's continue. Among the security products, I think that the leading product is usually the firewall. Firewall protects the activity which usually comes into the computer, but also some of it is going out of this computer. The one which is going out is usually considered as the client FTP, but those who comes in are the ODBC, which is SQL of other machines which apply to the database of the IBM I, also the telnet, the FTP when people from the outside are coming to us, SSH, remote program call, remote command, and so on. So all this has to be protected, and actually the firewall has the capability of controlling all the activities and ensuring that every such activity is first inspected and only then being approved. And this is the way that we do it. The product, unlike other ones, is with a layered security design. So we never try to think, oh, this user, he can do only this and this service, and for this and this service, he can do this and this verb, and for each verb, we start defining from which IP he can do it, and which library, and which object, and then we have to repeat it for many other things, and we get at the end a big tree of rules, which is actually unmanageable. Instead, what we have decided is to do it in layered security. Layered security is the way that the operating system has been designed. So first, in the operating system, we describe who are the users and what are their special capabilities. We don't continue and tell per user which libraries or which functions he can do for each object in each library. On the other hand, what we do is the opposite. We take the object, and for each object, we specify which user can access it and in which manner. At the end of the day, these two layers in the operating system are quite responsible to the high usability of the IBM I. And in this same idea, with this same idea in mind, we have designed our firewall. So the first layer is the exit point security. Exit point is like a gate into the IBM I, and here with these gates, we say which gate is allowed for the public. If this is an ancient gate, or a gate that we have decided to disable, we don't have to further on consider it, because we know that the first layer has already stopped it. The same way, if our organization has a few branches and we don't allow any other IP except for our local and those branches, then we can simply ignore all those tests because we check the IP or SNA names in the second level. Then we continue to the user and service mode and service. And here in the user, we start working with users. So when we speak about users, the way that we do is we check like the operating system. We check the user, and if the user is not allowed, we shall check the group profile. And if the group profile is not allowed, we shall check the supplemental group profiles. In this way, and by the way, I think that this is unique on the market. In this way, we ensure that all capabilities of the user are fulfilled before we are checked before we decide to reject his request. When we check the user, we also ensure that the user comes from a specific range of IPs may have any number with specific device name, and that the user is using only those verbs which is allowed by the exit point. For example, verb is get or put in FTP and can be insert, delete, or update in SQL. SQL is synonym for ODBC in this case. At the end, we shall check the object level. And when we check the object level, then we simply ensure that the user is among those who are allowed to access this object in the way that, the user is wishing to access it. It is so similar to the operating system that you will find it almost identical. Except that while the operating system is doing it per object, we use generic names. And as we use generic names, life is easy. One of you may ask, why should we have a duplicate system to check object authority? Well, the answer is simple. Because when we work with the green screen, and the security operating system of the IBM I is absolutely terrific for green screen, then the capabilities are good. And for example, a read authority should always be given for an object, for the customer master file, so that one can access by his program, dedicated program, a single specific customer. But when we speak about tools such as SQL or DBC, or tools such as FTP with the GET capability, read authority is sufficient to upload or to download the entire master file from the IBM I towards the PC or the other computer which has been connecting to the IBM I. And for that, we must have a second level of object security, which is presented here. Some aspects of the security that that iSecurity firewall provides. We control all existing exit point, and some of them which IBM even didn't provide exit points for them. For example, SSH. We provide it in real time, but the way that we provide it in real time is with knowing that we have the ability and need to control it without consuming too much time. So this is what we have, and let's continue to the next to see the business intelligence for the firewall. We are able to check the information that has been collected using a graphical business tool, a business intelligence tool that you can see here. And then I don't know if you can see what is written here, but it's here. I know that per day who did what. I can then click on the user and see within a range of dates which users were active. I can then continue and select anything, let's say a library, and concentrate on the objects of it, see the objects which were used by a specific using this day, and at the end I know the result, and I can check the IP, which server it was, and then if it is needed, I can even drill to the data. But let's continue. And when we continue, we are now in another very important product, which is the iSecurity Audit. Now, the audit module is a module which works over everything which should be audited. This starts with the Q audit journal, which is the log of the operating system. It logs every create, delete. It logs the activity of jobs, the commands which were run, the authority failures, communication problems, other types of problems, everything it logs. And we have the ability to filter it, because usually it gets too big. You will filter it and put it in our repository, and our repository contains much less information than the original receivers used by IBM. And then we shall continue with this. But let's look at the other capabilities. So we can also do similar things for the queue history and a message queue, for the QSysOper or virtually any other message queue. We can work with open logs of Apache, of WebSphere, or any product with those logs which exist on the IFS. We can even check activity in the system, active jobs and system status, and all this information can be transferred to the next layer via a filter, which I will be speaking soon. But not only things which represent logs and things we change, we can even take snapshots about user profiles, about system values, about PTFs, about everything in life. Everything on computer is there, and we can take snapshots. And from all this information, after filtering, we can have our report generator will provide us with capabilities of creating any type of report and selection of by any field. And always when we deal with any field, we have on the screen all the possible values. And we can create screen output for the 5250 as well as for the GUI. And we can create, of course, PDF, HTML, send them by email, zipped, run the reports by the report scheduler, and so on. Another reporting system is the Compliance Evaluator. The Compliance Evaluator will create for us scorecards. I will explain this Compliance Evaluator later on this presentation. The action module can accept anything here and treat it accordingly. For example, if an authority failure has been detected, then we can react by sending an email and SIEM message to any of the three SIEMs which we work with them together in parallel. We can send a text message or simply write a message, some message to a message queue. We then can even run a command script, which is like a CL program, but does not require any compilation, and the parameter of the command actually comes from the event itself. Surprisingly enough, we can even use the action module for the snapshots. And if we wish to run a CL script for something, or to report it to the SIEM, or to send it by email, we can even take a snapshot and run it through this filter towards the action module. The SIEM product was mentioned already. I will explain it a little bit later, and the same with the visualizer, which we have already seen some of its screens. So what do we have? I think that I've covered most of it. So if at the end we shall share with you this presentation, you will have the ability to look at the lists here and refresh your mind. At the end, as I said, we can even send the information to be displayed on the graphical interface. Actually, this is the graphical interface of the product. So you can see here that you have all the products. This is the antivirus, this is the audit, this is authority on demand, capture and central administration and change tracker and compliance and encryption and firewall and journal, and all these are products which you can open a product and start working with it. But we speak now about the visualizer. I've shown you the visualizer of Firewall. Now I'm showing you the visualizer of Audit, and it's very similar with the same technology. So let's continue. This is the visualizer. So the visualizer, it has the capabilities of investigating the information. But the question is not only the ease of use and how it looks like, but it's also about its performance and disk space consumption. Now, our visualizer does not work on the logs. Instead, our visualizer is working on compressed data in our own data warehouse. Otherwise, naturally, you will not be able to investigate long periods because the logs of all the products, they quite consume some space. While the data warehouse for the visualizer is much more smaller and provides still the capability of investigation. Actually, if I had the capability of showing you, you would have been surprised from the millions of records that are displayed here. And the number is simply written here, too big of a number. And the response time of this product is surprisingly, usually seconds. So you can click and cut all the audit journal information which you have collected in the last year and see statistics of it and activities of it immediately on the screen. At the end, the visualizer can even export its data, or it's after you have decided to classify and select the information, into an Excel and send it by mail. You can even create HTML reports. Well, we are running from one product to another, and you know, while I'm speaking about the AP Journal, which is our solution to control database journaling, I would prefer to do the same and simply jump to the next slide. So this is the AP Journal. The AP Journal controls in real time the information which is collected in database files. And of course, we have mixed here some of GUI screens as well as some green screens, because our solution, the iSecurity, has absolutely a gorgeous GUI interface, perhaps the best on the market, because it is Java-based on Eclipse, and you can open any number of transactions and queries on any number of systems simultaneously and flip from one to the other and so on. In the same way, we have an absolutely gorgeous solution for the green screen. People say that they like it, and I can confess that I like it because I came from those days of the green screen. So the AP Journal will collect all the important database activities and put them into some specific containers, which will enable us to inspect them later. Actually, the filters are based on any fields from the header of the database journal, where the header contains information about who did what, which file, on which relative record number, or from the data itself. For example, I'm able to control information only if the reduction which was given to customer extends 7%, which is the limit according to our business rule. And this means that we have to compare the after image and before image, take the values of this field and calculate to what extent in percents the reduction is, and then select according to this. All this is available. AP Journal is capable of transmitting all its information to SIEMs, and we have customers which prefer to do it from their own reason. This means, and this should give you a clue to understand that the solution is absolutely conservative in consumption of resources, because it is working in in some of the largest customers I've came across. Let's continue. Authority on demand. Authority on demand tries to find a different aspect for the needs of security in the organization. With authority on demand is the idea that authority should be granted on an as-need base only. And this means that if I have a programmer who might need some time elevated authority, then we have to give him either usually without the product permanently, because of course it is going to be very inconvenient for the user to come to us and get permission, and we should change his user profile accordingly, etc. But this is not feasible. So in most cases, the programmer will get forever the specific authority that he needs, the additional elevated authority, or we shall use the authority on demand. With authority on demand, we can define rules, and users can come and simply say, get authority on demand. And when they get this authority, they can now, their session, and only their session, if they even have several sessions, only their session is elevated to another level of authority, enabling to do the job. So we can create such a rule for these needs, and decide that this rule will apply only, let's say, on Mondays between 8 and 10 a.m. While the customer comes from a specific IP, and this is authorized by somebody and so on, and during the time that the programmer has elevated authority, we put on all the projectors on his activities. We log all the activity that he is, all the things that he is typing in to the command line. We take pictures of all the screens that he sees. We record all the changes to the database that he is doing while he is in the session of elevated authority. At the end, we produce a single report, which is a composition of all this and other information that we have collected, and convert it to HTML nicely, or just as a text, and send it to a repository which at the end the auditor may visit and inspect the activity. So this is what we have. All our products, including this one and including other, they all report to the SIEM solution which is in place and independently. And so they can tell, hey, an elevated authority has occurred for this and this user by this and this time and this condition, etc. And yes, we, with our solution of authority on demand, we have a unique situation. Usually, authority on demand is done by swap to a different user. This means that in all places where we have journals which record the current user, the user profile which will be recorded will be the user that we swapped into. This actually breaks the connection of responsibility between the one who is doing the activity and the log. Our solution provides 4 methods of providing elevated authority, but the most important is that 3 of them is starting with, includes the word add. So when we write the word add, we mean that we do not change the user profile and the responsibility for the activity as it appears in all logs, including the Q-Audit journal and database activity journals, will be for the current user. And this same user, while he's working, he will have elevated authorities only in his session, while with the other sessions, he will not having, unless, of course, he has used this method. So this was about elevating authority with authority on demand, and we continue to the field encryption. So field encryption is something which many regulations such as GDPR or PCI require. And our solution simply works entirely transparent. You will not even have to recompile your programs in most cases. Exceptions exist, okay. The level check of the file is not changed. And still, every file, regardless whether it was created by DDS or by SQL, whether it is accessed via SQL or via traditional IAM, will show information as masked to most of the people, but according to the user profile who is using it, according to the program that is in use, and according to the display file record format that is being used, then it will show the information in clear data. And the product is very well handling every type of field and is very conservative in consumption of resources. Let's continue with the SIEM and DAM support. I think that I've mentioned that we support 3 SIEMs in parallel. Each of them is handled separately. Each of them can react and get information for only few messages from the Q-Audit journal or from something else. We can work, each of them can work, one of them can work in UDP, the other in TCP, and the last one in TLS, which is an encrypted way of the TCP. All of them support Ceph or Leaf, the standards which are used today and for all these products which are called SIEMs. So this is the product, and we provide it. We actually support all messages of any kind. We are not limited to a predefined set, and we can send information of everything. I would just switch on to the password reset. Password reset is another product. Usually password reset is based on web, so you can see that our solution is also based on web, but we also have a full 5250 solution to support it. The product is working as of today with extremely big companies, some of them with over 12,000 users which have registered themselves to the product. Our product enables you to register yourself with auto-demand, regardless whether you work it with the web interface of your company or with the green interface of your company, then still you will be asked when the company decides that you have to put in your credentials and your personal questions so that you will be able to release yourself or to get an access to the computer by changing the password or by re-enabling your user profile at any time that it is required. The Compliance Evaluator is a scorecard producers. And actually, this is a full Excel spreadsheet that you see. It has also Excel filters, as you can see here. It is formatted in such a way that according to the value that is displayed in a cell, you will get the color of it. Actually, it is based on formulas. All this spreadsheet actually comes directly from the IBM I. We don't use any other platform. We believe in the IBM I. The IBM I is the one who is able to report on for multi-system and create Excels directly, and they look fantastic. With the Compliance Evaluator, we can check in how much percent we are complying with any regulation. We do provide templates of regulation, but actually you can add and check anything that any of our products have access to. And in this way, we are able to do that. Okay, so let's continue with the antivirus. Does the AS400 need, does the IBM I need antivirus? Well, the answer is yes. Antivirus will not protect us from any ransomware software, as some think so, but antivirus will prevent a risk that our IFS objects will get infected, and when somebody else will touch them, this infection of a virus will spread in our organization. In such a way, our IBM I may become a source of distribution of viruses in our organization. This doesn't make sense. So we need antivirus. Our antivirus is based on ClamAV, which is the most popular antivirus for Linux system worldwide. Actually, I'm convinced that almost all the mails that any one of us receives every day are inspected by this ClamAV. We do enable virus signature updates to be done automatically, daily or semi-daily, depends on your wish, directly from the web or proxy. If you are a bank, you are not allowed to connect your IBM I to the web directly, and so on. All works. And of course, this product also will send you an alert by email or directly to the SIEM. Anti-Ransomware. Anti-Ransomware is a product which is unique on the market. While all the others speaks about cyber security, we do it. Ransomware is frightening because ransomware works so. Maybe assume that somebody clicked on a suspicious link. Of course, at the time that he clicked, he didn't think that this is suspicious. At that time, the ransomware starts working on his PC and accesses every disk that that PC can have access to. This means also every IFS mapped folder which appears as a drive to the PC. And in this manner, this infected PC will infect not only itself, of course, but first it will later it will infect the IBM IFS files, your IBM IFS files, and maybe any other platform in the organization. But we, as I said in the beginning, we control only the IBM I. After it touches an object, a file, this cryptoware software, the ransomware, they encrypt the file and delete the original source, and then they display you, if you can see this message, which tells you, hey, pay or lose your files. And if you pay them what they ask, there are chances that you will get the key to release them, which is happening, but I wouldn't say that it is actually happening by more than 50, or some people say 70%. So in most of the cases, you lost your file. Our solution runs on the IBM I, protects ransomware, existing one and those which will come in the future, consumes as little CPU as you can imagine, and all this information, when it detects that there is an attack, it stops that attack, it cuts the connection to that PC, it may inform by email, by SIEM, to the SIEM, it can run a reactive program, but it can even send in some way a message to that PC which will cause it to shut down. So this one who is causing trouble, we can shut it down directly from the IBM I when we found that it is running a malicious software. I will just say a few words about two more products and let you ask your questions. Capture is a product which tracks all the activity of 5250. Again, a unique product. Some know that we have the capability of tracking all of the screens or some of the screens. We are able then to do a playback from the GUI. This when it comes in black is from the GUI. You can see it here from the title. And this is a playback from the 5250 screen. I prefer it to have a white background so it looks more like a PC. Oh, nice. This window is a control window which enables us to search for information in the session. The same is here. We are able to go to the top, to the bottom, according to the time, and so on. And you know what? It consumes almost no disk space because 1,300 data screens consume about 1 megabyte. Isn't that fantastic? And your picture, which you took yesterday with your camera, is minimum 6 to 10 megabytes. And we speak about 1,300 screens to consume just 1 megabyte. The product is integrated with all our other software. So if you see the log of Audit or Firewall or AOD or AP Journal, you can always press F5 and you will see if this was coming from an interactive screen that has been captured. You will see the screen which actually caused that message. Change Tracker is another unique solution on the market, and this Change Tracker will actually is the last thing which we will mention from the security perspective. I will mention another product in a minute. The Change Tracker is like a change management system for those who doesn't need a full-scale change management system. And change management systems are very important, and all auditors insist on knowing what has changed in production libraries by means of which new programs were added and which files were deleted, created, modified with new columns and so on. So all this information you can simply put in the Change Tracker, which is working based on the information that is collected in the Q Audit Journal only. And that guarantees 100% accuracy, and it is 100% automatic, and will create, using the report generator, all the needed reporting. By the way, at the time that things happen, a change happens, we at that time take a backup of the object, the previous object, of the current object, the sources which were consumed in order to create the new object. And then we even enable you to compare the releases of them. Yeah, all that automatically. No need for any human intervention. I will mention just one more product, a product which is not part of of the, generally speaking, iSecurity. You know, the IBM I seems to be, even today, a bit isolated. While everyone on the market can ODBC into the IBM I, when you write a COBOL program or an RPG program, you are not able to access the Oracle next door. The Oracle can access you, but you cannot access the Oracle. This is not fair. As such, we provide a product named DBGate, which is software only. While you install DBGate, this is the end. Every RPG programmer and every COBOL programmer can continue writing his SQL, and using his SQL, he will access any database which he wishes. He will access it in the same manner as he is used to work with the database of the IBM I. The product is so powerful that it can even work with the interactive start SQL command. And response time? It's fantastic. Sometimes it works even faster than working on the native database. How comes? Easily, because we consume now two CPUs, the CPU of the, let's say, Oracle or MS SQL, and the CPU of the IBM I. So we have doubled the power, and as such, the response is very fast. The product is being used by large entities in production environments, and give it a try. Actually, all our products are enabled for trial periods. We invite you to continue with us to the next webinars. And in the next webinars, which will take place starting from next week, Thursday, you will be able to hear about Firewall, and then in the Tuesday, then following Tuesday about GDPR, Field Encryption, Audit, and some more. But don't wait. If you have any interest, call us. You will get the best treatment, and we shall provide you with all you need and a trial to run with a demonstration privately for you. Thank you very much for participation, and I'm ready to get any answer, any question, and I'll try to provide the answers which I may have. Okay, I'm trying to find some answers. Oh, I'm getting here a question, but this question is actually out of the scope of this presentation, so I'll answer it briefly. Yes, we do have a product named FileScope, and FileScope is a file editor. People keep using it. Actually, the product is alive and very alive, and yes, it is the best as per our point of view from all the file editor in the market. And yes, it is possible to get a demo of it and a trial version. How long will the standard installation of Change Tracker be? Well, Change Tracker you install in, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes. You spend a few tenths of minutes to define which libraries are your production libraries and those libraries that you would wish to control. You specify what products are related to those libraries, because the product will then report that you have done changes to your account receivables or to your general ledger or inventory. It will speak in a language which you understand, and you run it. And that's all. Actually, you set up a report. You can even sometimes I try to be a little bit funny. I say, okay, and put the report on the scheduler, pointing the email directly to the auditor, and you are relieved. You don't have to worry anything because the auditor will get, let's say, weekly, the report of changes to production libraries. I think that we have run out of time, and I will take this opportunity to tell you thank you for participating. Some of you are already our customers, so please feel free to ask about other products. Others which are not are invited to call us. So you have all the information today. In the days of the internet, it's not a problem. Thank you and have a nice day.